I found out the truth 3 days before our anniversary. Not in a dramatic confrontation, not through some scandalous message popping up on her phone, but in the smallest way imaginable. A movie ticket stub in the laundry. It was for a film I had begged her to see with me for weeks. A limited screening, sold out in most places. The date printed on it. Last Thursday. The time? 8:15 p.m. The same night she told me she was working late and not to wait up. I stared at that slip of paper for a long time. It wasn't the kind of evidence that would shock anyone else. It wasn't lingerie, lipstick on a collar, or some steamy text. It was simple, innocent even. But I knew her habits, her tells, knew that if she had gone alone, she would have told me. If she had gone with a friend, she would have posted about it. But there was nothing, just silence and a lie. For the next 2 days, I didn't sleep. I didn't confront her. I didn't drink or scream or cry. I just watched. Watched how she typed too quickly when a notification buzzed. Watched how she smiled at her phone, then dimmed the screen like it might reveal something. Watched how she jumped when I walked into the room too quietly. I didn't want to believe it, but belief had nothing to do with truth. That weekend, I started checking old signs, things I had ignored or explained away, like how she stopped inviting me to her work events, how she started locking her phone, how she once came home wearing perfume I didn't recognize and told me it was a sample from a coworker. I hadn't thought much of it at the time, but now I was piecing together a different story. On Sunday, I logged into our shared iCloud. She had forgotten to disconnect her calendar. That's when I saw it, a dinner marked last Thursday night. Not titled, not labeled, just the word out. No location, no note. Just the kind of placeholder someone uses when they think no one will look. I started digging deeper. That night, while she was asleep, I checked her drawer, the one where she kept her jewelry. At the very back, tucked behind an old scarf, I found a receipt, a hotel room, booked 2 weeks ago. Same night, same time. Our anniversary dinner was already planned. A rooftop restaurant, the same one where I had proposed 3 years earlier. She had no idea that while she rehearsed her smiles in the mirror, I was rehearsing something else entirely. I didn't cancel the reservation. I didn't change the table. I let everything play out as she expected. She wore the blue dress I bought her last year. I complimented her hair. She kissed me softly, like it still meant something. Maybe in her twisted version of reality, it did. We arrived at the restaurant right on time. She beamed at the host. He led us to the table with a view of the skyline. We toasted with champagne. She made a joke about getting old. I laughed. It was all so painfully perfect. And then, right as the appetizers arrived, I placed a small envelope on the table. She tilted her head, curious. "What's this?" "A gift," I said. She smiled, slid her finger under the flap, and pulled out the photo. Her face went pale. It was grainy, taken from a security camera outside the cinema. But it was unmistakably her. Laughing, holding someone's hand. Not mine. She didn't speak. I watched the gears turn behind her eyes. The excuses forming, the lies she was preparing to stitch together. I didn't let her start. "I know everything, Jenna," I said quietly. "The late nights, the fake meetings, him." She opened her mouth. "Don't," I said. "Don't insult me with a story." She looked down. Her hands trembled. "Why now?" I asked. "Why this week?" She looked up, and for a moment, I saw the real her. Not the curated version she gave the world. The one who loved to control the narrative. Always the victim. Always misunderstood. But the Jenna who hid her truth behind perfect smiles. "I didn't plan it," she whispered. "You never do," I said. "But somehow you always end up exactly where you want to be." She started to cry. I didn't comfort her. The waiter came by. Awkward, unsure. "Everything okay here?" "Wonderful," I said. "Could we get the check, please?" He nodded and left. "What now?" she asked. "Now?" I leaned in. "Now you get to decide which story you want to tell everyone. Because tomorrow the real one's going out." She blinked. "What are you talking about?" "You remember that couples podcast you told your friends we were starting? The one you bragged about on Instagram? I made a first episode." She froze. It's called How to Lose a Husband in 10 Lies. You're joking. I was, I said. 3 days ago, not anymore. She stared at me, mouth open. You wouldn't. I already did. The check came. I paid in cash. She was still frozen when I stood up. By the way, I said, pulling another envelope from my jacket, here's the lease transfer form. Apartment's yours. I'm staying at my brother's until I leave the city. Leave? Yeah, got a job offer in Portland. Figured I'd start over somewhere that doesn't smell like broken promises. She didn't say anything. As I walked away, I didn't look back. 2 weeks later, the podcast went viral. Tens of thousands of downloads, comments, messages from people who saw themselves in my voice. Some sympathetic, some angry, some grateful. Jenna tried to spin it, said it was a fabricated story, that I had mental health issues, that it wasn't her. But I never said her name, never showed her face, never needed to. The truth I had learned doesn't need to scream to be heard. It just needs to stop whispering. And for once, I let mine speak. Thanks for watching. That's how this story ended, with freedom, clarity, and no regrets. Have you ever had a moment when you finally stood up for yourself? Drop your story in the comments. Someone out there needs to hear it. And if this hit you deep, like and subscribe. More real stories, bold, raw, and unapologetically honest, are coming soon.